There's something you don't want to see. Going to your gun range. Great. Our reloading bench is getting messy and overwhelmed. I've been having a lot of stuff come in the mail lately, like this. This is going to be a fun video, fun series of videos probably, but that's not what this video is about. You can also notice the trail cam I bought that I've yet to put out. And that really is related to what is going to be going on here, because of all my rifles, the only one I have hunting bullets for currently is my 7mm Mauser. Now my old Milsurp one, I've retired. So I'm going to be actually using my semi-custom, which strikes me as a little bit ridiculous, because when I bought that, I did have the thought in mind that I would only use it to shoot paper, not for hunting. So you can see I have the Federal Fusions out. These are 175 grain. These haven't been performing the best, and I only have about 12 left, so I could do a quick load work up there, but there wouldn't be much to make a video of. But not only that, 175 grains is a bit overkill for deer. It would get the job done, but really these were kind of made with like a 7mm Remington Magnum in mind, so it's supposed to be going probably 300 to 400 feet per second faster. We also have our Burger VLD bullets. These are 140 grain. These would be great. However, you know, I'm in the middle of the woods in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. The furthest shot I will ever take is going to be 100 yards, traditionally between 50 and 60. I frequently have made shots in as short as 10 to 15 yards. I don't need a VLD bullet. Furthermore, with burgers, I know they're meant to, they purposely make them to expand and expend energy is actually what I meant to say. So in other words, they do fragment, and I don't really care for that. No one likes, you know, cutting up a steak or biting into a steak or something like that, and you find a bit of copper, or worse yet, lead. So I'm going to avoid these if I can, and I'm going to go with something that I consider an oldie but goodie, the Sierra Pro Hunters. This is traditionally what I use, that or the Spear Hot Cores, but I don't have any of those. The thing that worries me about these is that it's 120 grains. Furthermore, my rifle, it has a 1 in 8 twist, which for 7mm is pretty quick, especially for such a light bullet. So we're still going to give them a try. We're going to see how well they do. But the question is, what powder do we use? Well, we can use that, oddly enough. We have load data readily available for that, but we're not going to. I'm hoping for something a little bit less temperature sensitive. So we also have this, but I don't have much left. And even then, this is still, I mean, that's definitely slow for this caliber. This is slow, but this does not have the case filling capacity that the other one does. So that makes me a little bit nervous. What else do we got here? Okay. This is hard to find load data for, and I don't think Norma has it for 120 grains. I know they have load data for this, but this is basically Reloader 15, which, if I remember right, is kind of notorious for not being temperature insensitive. Or rather, it is temperature sensitive. That's not the end of the world, by the way, but let's just say I'm hoping to make this be part of the series of videos. So pretty much it leaves two choices. IMR 3031, which, although is not advertised for its temperature and sensitivity, actually doesn't do too bad. But then we have this, IMR 4166, pardon me, part of their Ender Online, and I know there's load data, at least in the ballpark of this. And I think Spear has it. So let's go ahead and use this. Let's load up some ammo, do some tests, and let's see how well we do. I'm getting pretty far ahead of myself, kind of. I mean, I'm at the point where just weighing out charges, seating bullets, but I want to note two things, and it's two things that we might have going against us. One, and you can see where I already, like, these are my sighters, so I'm just getting everything set up for seating depth, so on and so forth. And, you know, in itself, it looks fine. Let me grab an unloaded bullet though. We're seated pretty far forward. We're not really utilizing a lot of this, the neck area, are we? Some people will say that's a bad thing, but the other thing that kind of is going against us, and again, this is another train of thought or a kernel of wisdom, however you want to word it. Yeah, look at that case fill, if I can get it good enough down in there. Can you guys see? I'm leaning over pretty far. I can see powder kernels. It's only about, yay, 70%. So if we follow another train of thought, we're already kind of doomed in the department of ESs and SDs. Because some people, they chase the sill, we'll say, where they want the top of their powder charge hitting the bottom of their bullet. And if we're only seating to about there, well, you can already see the problem. However, I can tell you from my test with Benchmark, that's not always the case, but there's exceptions to every rule, right? And at the end of the day, I care more about how the groups print on paper than what the numbers in my chronograph tell me. And that's why I'm going to go forward with this, because these are going to be hunting grounds. The furthest shot I'm going to make is going to be 100 yards. Realistically, more about 50. I think I said that before. So we're going to find something that pretty much prints well. And from that, with a future video, we might test the temperature and sensitivity of IMR 4166. Maybe whatever wins, we're going to put over a chronograph now, and then finally in the dead of winter in February, where things get into the minus numbers, the scary numbers. I just wanted to babble on a little bit about that. So I'm going to get back to weighing charges and seating bullets, and I will see you guys in a little bit. It is rainy, the temperature's dropping, so is the sun. Pretty much everything's against me, but it's all good. We're coming up on November, coming up on hunting season. I've already done kind of an intro of what we're doing. We're working up a hunting load for my, oddly enough, I'm going to be using my semi-custom for hunting, which actually I never thought I'd do. Like when I bought it, I solely had the plan of just hunting paper with it. But it was the only, 7mm was the only rounds I had that were actual hunting rounds. I realize you can shoot things with target bullets, but, well, you know what, let's not touch that subject. Let's move on. Anyway, so these are Sierra Pro Hunters, 120 grain. We'll see if they're gonna work in this rifle. I am using IMR 4166 for propellant. We got CCI number 34 primers and pew brass. So nothing special. We're just going to see how well my rifle does with it. I am going to be shooting at 100 yards. And these first three actually are more just for kind of foulers. So even though they are my minimum charge, I'm actually not worried about any sort of grouping I get on paper. I don't have any direct data for IMR 4166. This is extrapolated because Spear had data for 110 and 130, but no 120. So we're using a different bullet manufacturer, and I just got back underneath the... Do you hear the rain? It just started raining again. And anyway, so this is completely extrapolated, and I just want to see the speed of these. It should be approximately 2,600 feet per second. And if that's all it goes up to, I'm more than happy with that. That's more than enough to take down a deer. And then the max load should be upwards of about 3,000 plus, considering. We'll see though. Anyway, I'm going to stop filming. I'm going to start shooting, and that's the most important part. This just happened with me, and this is so this rifle, this action is a push feed. It's not a control feed, and we see one of the downsides there. So let us give me 1 second. Let me see if I can replicate that Okay, let's push it back down. Okay, and now I'm gonna sit back down and let's see if we can. Maybe I wasn't doing fast enough. I don't entirely know, but see how it kind of jumps out there and then you can push it in. Yeah, so for whatever reason, it popped out enough that if I would have continued closing in a rough way, it would have. So if I would have closed that with any serious authority, I probably would have deformed that brass, so that's not good. So far, though, that is my one and only complaint with this. It's still a notable complaint, though, right? Anyway, because everything's not perfect, right? Anyway, so let's fire off this round. Let's see how well we do, and then I got to finish up the rest. Okay, so let's do a quick review because this is a little bit scattered. But anyway, so these are what I used for my ciders, and I didn't change my zero at all. I'm all like I aimed here, so it's definitely hitting to the upper right. So keep that in mind. Anyway, so this charge weight right here is 40.4, and you can see there it's a little over a 1-inch group. When we go up to 40.8, it definitely opens up, but we see some horizontalness going on there. When we go over to 41.2, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, and note how I shot out the staple. That was not intentional, but that plays a factor later. But there's some verticality here. It almost looks like it's grouping into two groups, right? That's important because our next step up, this is 41.6. We definitely have verticality going on there. And the group also opened up. So we can kind of see how, again, the verbiage, the terminology, how things graph in a sine wave. We can kind of see that going on here, but we can also see how we're changing from horizontal to a vertical dispersion. And with our final charge that we worked up to our max, this is 42 grains. 1, 2, 3. Where's the fourth one? Well, because I shot out that staple, there it's hiding. It's right there. And note how similar it is to this one. It's definitely opened up, but this one is working into the verticality. This one's working out of it. So with the signs from the primers, I feel safe putting in just a little bit more powder to see if this tightens up. But there's also some seeding depth testing we can do. I don't think we're really gonna have to. I don't think it's needed though, because realistically, any one of these is fine for hunting. 100 yards is gonna be the furthest shot I ever have to make, and even the lowest charge is gonna be enough to slay a deer. So we're fine. Okay, it's next day. We're back here at the range, and I have loaded up 42.2, 42.4, and 42.6. So we're really hunting for that harmonic node, and we're hoping that by pushing it just a little bit further, we can get there. I'm not too worried about being over pressure, but I like to play it safe, and with pressure spikes, you never know. But the main reason I'm not too worried, and this is me kind of babbling, is because the top end for 7x57 is 46,000. So this is a modern rifle. We can actually afford to probably go higher than that. Not that you necessarily want to, but I'm just saying. Anyway, I did bring out 3 extra of the 42.2 just to shoot them over chronograph. The numbers weren't the greatest. I think the standard deviation was 18. Extreme spread then was like just below 40, if I remember right. So nothing terrible, but nothing superb, right? So we'll see if they print on paper the best, though. So thankfully, actually, my old targets from yesterday are still up. Let's do a brief recap. So that's the first group, 40.4. This is the next step up, 40.8. And then 40.1, yeah, 41.2, 41.6, 42. And in the broad scheme of things, you can see horizontal stringing goes into vertical stringing, and it starts to tighten up. And notice how before and after the vertical stringing, it looks quite similar, right? So just predicting from that, I figured we're going to hit another harmonic node. And sure enough, just simply by going through the process, we were right. There we go. Now, the next one didn't do so well, and the final one did a little bit better. But I thought it was very interesting how even just a 0.2 grain difference this made. So we're definitely building into another scatter node of some sort. But even just this small step, vertical, horizontal, it definitely goes to show how much of load development is an art form. Okay, gents, and this is for the extras. So I did load up some Federals. The Federal Fusion's 175 grains, and this is with IMR 4831. This is the maximum charge. We went all in, and the only difference here, though, is 18 thousandths of seating depth. So this is 3.055 for the overall length. This is 3.037. So huge difference, huge shift in the point of impact, verticality, all the other fun stuff. So yeah, this I can use as a alternative for hunting, because that might not be as accurate, but that's still plenty enough for killing deer, that is.